Sorry about that. Had to flip the phone over. Adversity always seems to come at the 11th hour. That's what I want to talk to you guys about this morning. Friends, I want you to ask yourself a question. When has something that was ever really valuable to you, maybe a massive deal, maybe you getting a degree or getting something across the finish line, taking that final exam, or again, contracts, real estate, it could be anything, right? When has the adversity not come at the 11th hour? See, I think this is one of the things that really sets apart the successful entrepreneurs or those that see their vision come to fruition, right? I think success, we're constantly trying to figure out what's that definition. Is it what he has? Is it what she has? Is it building a business? Is it being an amazing biologist? Like, success is seeing your vision through to the end. Anyone who's ever seen their vision come to fruition, right? Some level of I achieved has realized one thing, and that is adversity always comes at the 11th hour. And one thing I want to help put into perspective today, if you missed a deal, if you missed the first time taking your test, if you were kicked back for some reason, right? If you had the hardest time achieving a thing, it is because adversity comes in the 11th hour. But we have to see it for what it is, not for worse than what it is, right? Sometimes our mind has this way of tricking us of saying, I can't believe you didn't achieve that thing. You must not be good enough. Why did you even try anyway? Success is for other people. It's not for me. Why did I even put myself out there? Why did I even give it a shot? Last week, folks, we had a deal on Friday, not close, right? Talking about multiple six-figure deal, not close. And for the first 5 minutes or so, my partner and I kind of like, I call it crying in your cereal, right? Or crying in your soup. For like 5 minutes, I'm like, damn, why didn't that happen? Why didn't that go right? What's going on? What can we fix, right? But the reality of it is, and Ed Milet said this at the beginning of COVID, he said the adversity that we face sometimes forces us to do things that we maybe should have been doing that way all along, right? Maybe we should have been paying closer attention to these little details. Maybe we should have called this person and had that tough conversation. Maybe we should have sent the extra email to ensure that everyone was copied. Maybe we should have. However, sometimes the success just doesn't come when you want it, right? See, God has a funny way of putting success in our way or giving us these achievements at His time, not at our time. So we sat back and we said, you know what? This deal is still viable. In fact, it's one of the best deals we've ever underwritten. Right? What other way can we pivot? I know. We'll take the deal down. We'll do the deal. We'll get some more time. Oh, but the seller won't give us more time. We find a way. Now we're going to close the same deal 6 weeks later, still make all the money we would have made, God willing, right? And have the ability to create more opportunity from the learning experience that we've created. See, right? Sometimes out of chaos comes order. I'm looking down at my notes because I wrote this all yesterday. Sometimes the chaos creates the order. Sometimes that adversity, that challenge, those trials, those tribulations, that pain, that temporary suffering creates the order that we maybe should have had all along, right? Creates the fix to the process. Gets us 1% better. But here's a little secret. It's never perfect, right? The 11th hour is always going to be difficult when you're doing real deals. I remember about 6 months ago, we closed, our second or third big assignment deal on self-storage. I think it was about an $850K assignment. And at the last minute, everything was falling apart, right? The buyer's attorney hadn't reviewed the documents until the day before closing. She had all kinds of objections that she's trying to pull out the day before closing. She's talking about easements and things that were done and fixed months ago, the day before closing. And it was a lot of back and forth phone calls, straightening this out, making sure the due diligence was correct, putting things in order so that we could close on time. And somebody said, man, this shit is hard. My partner Brian looked at them and said, did you think making 850 grand was easy? Right? See, a lot of times us putting these challenges in front of us is what's making us harden, smarter, faster, smoother, more able to correct bigger problems. That's the cool thing about big problems, guys. When you solve big problems, God gives you bigger problems to solve. He said, man, you've been put here to solve problems. I'm using you as my tool to go out there and show people what problem solving looks like. I'm making you a piece of the action. By helping you create the solutions, other people will be watching. What's up, Andy? Other people will be watching you solve those problems, and in turn, they will learn to solve problems. See, it's one of the reasons we call our company Legacy Developers, right? It's not my legacy. It's not Brian's legacy. It's the team's legacy of the amount of massive problems they solve and the benefit that their great-grandkids will see. The equity passed down, the cash flow passed down, the bonuses passed down, creating all of these other concepts, life insurance policies, wills, trusts, estates, right? Creating this insulation so that their great-grandkids can experience it. So again, guys, a lot of times when we're facing that adversity, it comes down to two things. Are we committed or are we curious? Right? Are we committed to getting a result and we will do whatever it takes to get that result? Or are we just curious? Man, we're just dipping our toes in the water. We're not quite sure if it's going to work or not, but I'll test it out. And then the slightest bit of adversity, oh shit, oh maybe this isn't for me. Right? I'm not sure if I'm capable of this. I'm not sure if I'm built for this. I'm not sure if I'm able to take this on. Did you guys ever feel that experience? You ever felt that in your chest where you're like, shit, this is not for me, right? I'm going to regress back to comfort. Man, it was comfortable when I was living at home with my parents and I had no responsibility, right? It was comfortable when I first got out of school and life was free and I had little money, but I had little care, right? It was comfortable back then. Guys, guess what? Success is not comfortable. Committing to something with a bigger vision is not comfortable. Do you think Elon goes to bed every day thinking about how comfortable he is on his flight to Mars, on his way to Mars? He's not comfortable. In fact, I listened to a podcast the other day where he flat out said multiple times, he can't count the amount of times he came this close to bankruptcy. SpaceX at one point got a cash infusion from an investor. When the investor was on the phone with Elon, he says, how much do we need to make happen? And he gave him a number. And he said, okay, when do you need it by? And he said, in 2 weeks, I won't be able to finish payroll. In 2 weeks, this company is going upside down. In fact, Elon said if it hadn't been for the fact that he extended credit with a bunch of his suppliers, he would have went bankrupt. SpaceX wouldn't be a thing. Right? Again, guys, committed, firmly, defiantly committed to a result, to a vision. It's going to work. It's going to happen. He's not curious about going to Mars. He's going to Mars. He's not curious about changing the EV market and creating electric vehicles for the country. He's committed to being the person to do it, even if the government won't recognize him. Right? So, the point that I'm making today is adversity. Sometimes that scary thing, those challenges, they come when you least expect them for a reason. They're there to shape us. They're there to file us down and make us sharp. They're there so the next time they come around, we just shake it off and look for a bigger challenge. Hope you guys found this message valuable this morning. If you did, all I ask you to do, share it, send it to somebody, text them, message them, ask them to follow, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys.